If you're thinking about getting a made in Japan vintage acoustic guitar, I think this video would be really helpful for you. I want to go over what I've learned after going down this rabbit hole. It was something that was kind of on my radar, and then I played a couple. I ended up buying a made in Japan guitar at a garage sale, and then I just went in deep and started buying them and refurbishing them, fixing them up, playing them, comparing them. I've learned a lot through that process, and I think I could just fast track you, and I'll point you towards 3 acoustic guitars that are made in Japan, or let's just say brands, not even specific models, but brands of acoustic guitars that were made in Japan, 1970s era. And if you're shopping for a high quality acoustic guitar, you're not looking to spend a bundle. Like if you've got Martin money, just go buy Martin, get to work playing it. If you're looking to spend about 1/10 that price tag, but get something that's actually reasonably comparable in terms of playing quality, then I recommend looking at these 3 guitars. Okay, so first of all here, this one's almost cheating. So this is a K.Yairi or K.Yairi, depending on who you ask. And these guitars are probably the most sought after. Maybe second with the SCIRE guitars. And these are handmade, high quality acoustic guitars. The problem with these is you're basically into Martin money. These have such a big following. They're so desired by collectors. As a result, you're not going to get them for cheap. Like this one here is the YW800 model. And I paid a few $100s for it. And you're like, oh, big deal. That sounds pretty good. And I'll say, well, it was smashed to pieces. That's why it was a few $100s. And I had to put a lot of work into it to make it a playable guitar like you see now. And so that's, one of the ways that you can get your hands on one of these. But it's still on the list because it is a very, very desirable guitar brand. Not the YW800 necessarily. Like this is a pretty good one, but the YW1000's better than this. It has a very high quality sound. It's very playable. Like with an old guitar like this, every guitar is evaluated unto itself. Some are good, some are bad, somewhere in the middle. But the sound quality should be consistent from one to the next, provided that the guitar is serviceable and in playable condition. And these Yairi guitars are the top of the pile. If basically with these guitars, what it comes down to is if you ever see one of these brand, you buy it. If the price tag on it is something you can afford, buy that guitar because they're very valuable and they're highly sought after. So aside from these extremely expensive and very hard to find handmade acoustic guitars from the 1970s Japan-made era, is there anything out there that's actually a little bit affordable or maybe easier to find? And the answer is definitely yes. Both of the next examples that I have to give you here would fit that criteria. There's a lot of them available and they're not too much money. Let's get into those ones. Good old Yamaha guitars. I mean, they're still making them today. But the thing is, this is interesting. Yamaha, throughout their lineage of making instruments, and we're talking decades of doing so, they have had a very high level of quality control compared to a lot of the other guitars that I've played. Most of the Yamahas that I've played, vintage, kind of vintage, modern day, they're all pretty good. And some of them are really darn good. And especially when you get into the made in Japan era of Yamaha guitars, I find that there's a bunch of hidden gems. I mean, there's actually so many models available. That's one of the benefits if you start shopping for Yamahas. You can be pretty sure that it's a reasonably good instrument to start with. There's a lot of them available, meaning a lot of different price points from, very entry level all the way up to really darn expensive. There's a ton of Yamahas out there in the vintage category that are selling for thousands and thousands of dollars. But there's a bunch that sell for $100, a few hundred. I'm holding one here. That sounds incredible. This is an FG301 made in Japan. Late 70s, something like that. And this guitar wouldn't be worth more than a few $100s, but it plays beautifully. And this one isn't the unique one, and it certainly isn't one of the most sought after of the Yamaha brand, that's for sure. But you can just hear, I mean, it's got tone for days. And let's talk about another Yamaha here, because they really do carry quality across the line. Anybody who's a Yamaha collector would know that this one I'm holding is kind of a big deal. This is the FG180. This, in a lot of ways, is one of the most popular acoustic guitars ever. And there's a lot of popular albums which were recorded playing this exact guitar, because this is the working man's Martin. This was like the copy that was affordable, but it still plays pretty good. I haven't picked this up in a while. Sounds pretty good considering I haven't picked it up in a while. Here it lacking a little bit on the bass end. Intonates nicely. This guitar is one of the more expensive ones from the vintage Yamaha lineup. And we're not talking tons, we're talking a few hundred, like a couple hundred, not 100. And it's really just the label on it. The FG180 was popular. It is something that's sought after by collectors. So it tends to sell a little bit faster and for a little bit more money than other comparable Yamahas like that. The last one that I was just playing, I think, has a superior sound to this FG180. This FG180 is probably worth twice or three times as much as the other one. The other one, you might be able to pick it up for 25 or 50 bucks, 100 bucks, depending on the condition of it. So these vintage Yamahas made in Japan are just across the board guitars that I recommend. I feel like they're a pretty solid investment, especially if you're ever in a situation where you're buying sight unseen. If you're buying sight unseen, you're really taking your chances with vintage guitars. You're going to get what you're going to get, and it's not always going to be a good thing. But Yamaha's commitment to quality control throughout the decades enables me to buy the instrument with more confidence, provided that there's one big thing I'm looking for if I'm looking at a vintage Yamaha. I read somebody else say this. These aren't my words, but I agree with it entirely, which is 110% of vintage Yamaha guitars need a neck reset. And if you don't know what a neck reset is, it's basically just the point, like the guitar neck angle changes over time from the tension of the strings. And whether it's warped or it's broken away, regardless, the fix for it, a neck reset, is probably 3 times the value of the guitar if you have, a quality luthier available to you to do such a thing. It's really not a do-it-yourself friendly process, even for technically minded folk. And so when you need a neck reset, it's kind of the end of the road for that guitar, unless that guitar is of extreme sentimental value to something to that degree. Probably that's the end of the life for it. So if you're buying a vintage Yamaha, you can probably be pretty confident that it's good. I mean, the ones made in Taiwan are good as well, but I really, really highly endorse the Yamaha models made in Japan. So if you can find those are really where it's at. And specifically pay attention to the action, right? So when you're buying this guitar, you maybe have to buy it by pictures only. I'm looking at the action, and if you're lucky, there'll be a measurement that shows you what the action is at the 12th string. And you want it to only be a couple of millimeters tops. But here's what you're looking for also. You're looking for like the saddle. Has the saddle been shaved down in order to compensate for a neck angle that is degrading over time? Like this one I'm holding has. It's been shaved down quite a bit there. As a result, there's just not a lot more room to go. And I can see that the action on this is already kind of not great up towards the 12th fret. So that's the thing that I'm careful of if I'm buying vintage Yamahas. I'm really trying to get a beat on what that neck angle looks like, how much work has been done to the saddle and the bridge to try to compensate for a neck angle that is eventually failing, because they're very lightweight guitars. Like when you have all these guitars and you pick them up one next to each other, the Yamahas are super light. Like this one here, it feels like a feather, and it projects like crazy. And I think that that's part of the reason why it projects so much, is because it's just a very lightweight guitar, and as a result, I'm not a sound engineer, but it certainly is a noticeable thing when you're playing it. So Yamaha is always a good buy if you're looking at vintage acoustic guitars. So this brings me to my third example that I would want you to know about if you're looking at vintage made in Japan acoustic guitars. I've played probably 12, 15 different manufacturers and then multiples from each of those lines. And I find that the Morris guitars are, they are a couple of things. One, they can be really, really high quality, nice sounding, nice playing acoustic guitars. They're not all. I mean, there's a bunch of their entry-level products on the market, and some of those are even not too bad too. But here's one of the other things I wanted to say about Morris that I've really found to be true, having played at least a dozen, if not 15, of the Morris brands specifically. They play true to their model numbers. So fortunately for us, because there's not a lot of information out there about made in Japan guitars. If you follow this kind of stuff, you know, you gotta dig and fight for every little scrap of info you can get. One of the nice things is that the model numbers of, you know, 1970s eras made in Japan guitars, the model numbers indicate the price tag. Right here in my hand, I have a MG600. This actually represents a 80s model. The 70s model would have a number like MG60, whereas the 80s that got into like an MG600. It's the same guitar, but that indicates the class, and that would have been 60,000 yen when this guitar was new in 1982 or so is this one I'm holding here. I've got a few more of these Morrises that we'll go over in a second here, but that model number equaling original price tag makes it's so easy. You can walk up to any old Morris guitar, and this is true for actually a lot of the brands that came out of Japan at the time, but definitely true for Morris. You can look at the label through the sound hole. You can see it's made in Japan. It'll say it's made in Japan on there, and there'll be a number like W40. That was 40,000 yen. And if there was two of them available, and one's a W20 and one's a W40, buy the W40 because that was a better, more expensive instrument. So that's just a really convenient way that you can immediately tell with a Morris instrument. And a lot of the different manufacturers of made in Japan guitars of the era is the model number equals the price. Sounds very nice. And this is not a super expensive guitar. Like, I would play this guitar standing shoulder to shoulder with other musicians playing Gibsons and Taylors and Martins. And I mean, we're not all made of money, but this thing speaks for itself. And a lot of these guitars that came out of the era at the time really do. So 60,000 yen. If you're shopping for a vintage made in Japan acoustic guitar, this one I'm holding, and not even just the brand in general, but the model specifically, is something that I would recommend for you. Or at least recommend that you look into. This thing plays like a dream, and I can tell you from experience, it's got so much projection, I can hardly sing when I'm playing this thing, or I can't keep up with the volume that it makes. It's got a beautiful design. The back was, at the time, Brazilian rosewood was becoming more and more in difficult and short supply, and so the larger pieces, such that you could matchbook the whole back, that design had gone by the wayside, and they've gone to this split back design. Sometimes it was 3 pieces of rosewood, sometimes it's rosewood and like a maple inlay like you see here. The W40 from Morris, 40,000 yen when it was for sale. This guitar is, I think, in 1974, 1976. I love this guitar. And the reason why this is a very notable one is because I think they made a lot of these. As I look for guitars in the market, now that I know what I'm looking for, I see a lot of these. Like, if I wanted 20 of these W40s, and I might, like I just might, I have 2 of them for now, and I'm satisfied with the 2 I have. beautiful. I absolutely love this guitar, and it's maybe a few $100s. Like this one I'm holding is darn near museum quality, and it was just the person who had it loved it, and you could tell in the way that it came with every piece, the original bill of sale from the manufacturer in Japan in 1976, and all. It came with, like, you know, a dust rag that says Morris on it, and a capo and a tuner and all this other cool stuff. So, and again, we're talking a couple $100s on the used market. If you went down to your local, you know, music shop and tried to buy a new guitar, a new acoustic guitar, you had a few $100s. Man, fat chance you're going to get anything that's going to sound good. You're not going to get anything that sounds like this. Period. You're not going to get it. And let's just say that, you know, the clouds parted and lightning strikes the store and you got lucky and you got one that does sound like this. It's not going to sound like this in a couple of years. The thing about aged woods sound good. These guitars sound better now than the day they were made. The more solid wood versus laminate, the better in terms of this sound that opens up over time. Love them. I recommend the W40 from Morris as something that it's probably one of the best overall values that I could name after playing, I don't know, hundreds of these things in total now. I really think that there's a lot of them. They're of high build quality. You can tell by looking at it and playing it. Like this is a nice guitar. This was nice the day that it was made. All the inlays are ornate. It's got a spruce top. It's got laminate back and sides, but it's not plywood laminate like a garbage or junk guitar would have. It's, at the time, the artisans building these believed their process of laminating tone woods together to be superior to a single piece of tone wood. They weren't doing it because they were cutting a corner. Like when we have like a piece of plywood laminated with something these days, we're doing it because, you know, it's cheaper for the manufacturer. They can make more money. These guys were doing it because they genuinely thought it made a better guitar that could last longer and withstand more abuse in terms of like fluctuations in humidity, because all of the solid wood instruments of the time were struggling with the change of humidity, you know, being manufactured in Japan and then being shipped to America, and they weren't lasting. So they were developing these stronger methods. We have a negative connotation associated with laminated woods. And if you asked a guitar pro, hey, what do you think about this laminated guitar? They might just tell you it's junk without even looking at it. But the truth is, there's something to these laminated tone woods, because I play my guitars, which are worth a few $100s each, against people who have guitars that are worth a few $1,000s each. Every time, bar none, my guitars hold their own. And there is a lot of times where you will see a $3,000 guitar being played next to one of these Morris worth 10% of that. And the Morris is better. It's hands down better. Anybody with ears would tell you it's better. W40. Look into it. There's a lot of them out there, so you can probably get a good deal on these. I hope you found this information helpful. Thank you for making it to the end of my video. Please like, please subscribe. I'll give you more content about acoustic guitars. I really like talking about the made in Japan acoustic guitars in specific. I've done entirely too much research. As you can see, I got a little bit of a problem with most of these, not all of them, but most of these are the made in Japan series that I've collected over time, and I highly endorse them. There's some real gems in the collections there.